Good evening, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and colleagues. It is my pleasure to welcome you today to the ceremony commemorating Austria's accession to the International Vaccine Institute. My name is Colin McCann, and I'm the acting head of the IVI Austria Country Office, and it's my honor to be your moderator this evening. We will begin with pre-recorded welcoming remarks from Mr. George Bickerstaff, the chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Wolfgang Angerholzer, Ambassador of the Republic of Austria to the Republic of Korea, Chul Lee, Director General, International Organizations Bureau, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea, Your Excellency, Guillermo Kilpatrick, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Spain to the Republic of Korea, distinguished guests and friends, my name is George Bickerstaff, and as the chairperson of the International Vaccine Institute's Board of Trustees, it's my honor to virtually welcome you today as we celebrate Austria's ascension to the IVI Establishment Agreement. Today's flag-raising ceremony is the accumulation of 3 years' effort between many IVI and Austrian diplomats, scientists, and leaders who recognize the mutual strategic value of IVI-Austrian partnership and the potential this partnership has to protect human life from the threat of infectious diseases. I'd like to recognize and thank all of you who made this possible. I'd also like to express our sincere gratitude to the people and government of Austria for the generous funding support IVI is receiving from Austria. As part of Austria's ascension, the Federal Ministry of Social Affairs, Health, Care, and Consumer Protection, and the Federal Ministry of Education, Science, and Research will each contribute 400,000 euros in annual core funding. This significant level of support is a testament of confidence in IVI's mission and capacity, and we will reciprocate by ensuring that Austria researchers and innovations make their way to the front lines of global health, integrate with IVI's activities, and lead to the introduction of new vaccines against neglected and pandemic-associated diseases. As a core funding contributor, Austria will receive a seat on IVI's Board of Trustees, and it will be my honor to welcome Austria's representative to the board. We are confident that Austrian leadership in IVI will help the Institute realize its vision and mission, both as a vaccine developer and as an international organization. On behalf of everyone at IVI, including the other 42 signatories and parties to IVI's establishment agreement, it's my pleasure to welcome Austria to IVI. Thank you.
Thank you, George. At this time, it is my pleasure to invite His Excellency Wolfgang Angerholzer, Ambassador of the Republic of Austria to the Republic of Korea, to deliver his congratulatory remarks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dear Director General Jerome Kim, esteemed scientists, staff members of the International Vaccine Institutes, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for the kind invitation to today's flag-raising ceremony. I speak on behalf of all Austrian parties concerned who, unfortunately, cannot join us here in Seoul. We are truly delighted that the accession process of Austria to the International Vaccine Institute is now finalized. It fills me with pride that today we are able to celebrate this important step. 4 years ago, Austria and IVI endeavored to establish a strong institutional bond. With the conclusion and entry into force of both the IVI-Austria host country agreement and the Austrian accession to the agreement on the establishment of IVI, the International Vaccine Institute has become an international organization with a base in Austria. Vienna is the host of a large number of important global institutions, among them around 50 international organizations. On behalf of the Republic of Austria, let me convey to you our deep satisfaction in Austria's joining the International Vaccine Institute. This enables us to contribute better than before to international efforts in research, development, and delivery of safe, effective, and affordable vaccines. We need to cooperate globally in order to curb and overcome infectious diseases. By doing so, we shall improve public health globally. Vaccines are one of the greatest achievements of modern medicine. The widespread use of vaccines to prevent diseases which in the past often determined the fate of unvaccinated people has had a tremendous impact on the world's population. Recently, the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation published an analysis of data stemming from 204 countries and territorial entities in the Lancet Infectious Diseases Journal. It estimates that in 2019, infectious diseases accounted for more than 700 million disability-adjusted life years globally. This figure shows the loss of years due to illness, disability, or early death caused by infectious diseases. The high disease burden calls for further research in drug development, vaccinology, and pathogen biology through a joint and global effort. The International Vaccine Institute is qualified to the highest extent to lead international research on a global scope. IVI's expertise in the field of vaccine development and vaccine manufacturing is widely acknowledged. Austria is delighted to join IVI's global network and to contribute to this important task. Besides its European seat in Sweden, IVI has set up an office in Vienna. We see that as a token of mutual trust. Through our financial and logistics support, we shall do our best so that the IVI office in Vienna feels at home in this city. IVI's permanent presence in Vienna will facilitate direct access and cooperation with our national research community, which is active in infectiology, immunology, vaccinology, and vaccine development. Austrian authorities stand ready to explore new avenues on how to intensify these links and how to set up joint projects with academia, biotech, and pharma industry in Austria. For example, in the context of a European and developing countries clinical trial partnership. The fight against poverty-related infectious diseases continues to be important. We need to provide a low threshold and equitable access to immunization for all people worldwide. In the future, no one should suffer from diseases that easily could be prevented. Austria acknowledges this responsibility. Austria wishes to cooperate internationally. Thus, Austria is proud to be a member of the International Vaccine Institute. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Angerholzer. I can tell you as the acting head of the Vienna office that we have in fact been very warmly welcomed in Vienna, from civil society organizations, the life sciences sector, to the Austrian government. Everyone that we've worked with have been welcoming and ingratiating to us, and we're very fortunate to be there, and we look forward to launching some projects very soon. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Chul Lee, the Director General of the International Organizations Bureau in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea, to deliver his congratulatory remarks.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency Wolfgang Angerholzer, Ambassador of the Republic of Austria to the Republic of Korea, Mr. George Bickerstaff, Chairperson of the IVI Board of Trustees, Dr. Jerome Kim, Director General of the IVI, and distinguished guests. It is a great pleasure for me to attend this meaningful event to celebrate the accession of the Republic of Austria to IVI. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Korea, I would like to convey my sincere congratulations to the government of Austria and broad family and friends of IA for this important milestone. Korea has been strongly supporting global public health and remains committed to the IVI as the host country of the institution. We value and praise the key role that IVI plays in developing and disseminating safe, affordable, and effective vaccine to low and middle-income countries and in supporting capacity building in many partner countries across the globe. We commend particularly IVI's recent efforts to strengthen the vaccine ecosystem, including the establishment of 2 offices in Africa and the launch of the Advancing Vaccine End-to-End Capabilities in Africa, called AVEC Africa Initiative. In this regard, we particularly welcomed Austria's decision to join this noble endeavor by ratifying the IVI Establishment Agreement to become a state party to IVI. Austria's accession is particularly meaningful because Austria has been already close friend of IVI since 2022. Austrian government graciously hosted IVI country office. This office has served as an important bridge between the IVI and European stakeholders, including the Austrian government and health ministry, and in promoting and facilitating vaccine R&D projects aligned with the IVI's objectives. Today's accession ceremony and the IVI country office in Vienna represent the deepening cooperation between Austria and the IVI. As the government of the hosting country, we are thrilled that this partnership will further enhance our growing community at IVI. We cannot overemphasize the importance of international solidarity and cooperation in addressing global public health issues. As we have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic, health crises do not know borders. The world needs to be prepared to respond more effectively to a future pandemic which could happen at any time. To this end, Korea will continue to support IVI's efforts to advance global health security and work closely with other state parties, including Austria. Once again, I extend my heartfelt congratulations to the IVI and the government of the Republic of Austria on their new journey together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Lee. At this time, it's my pleasure to welcome IVI Director General Jerome Kim to deliver his remarks and presentation. Okay. So this is forward and this is back. Okay. And this is laser. So be careful.
Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Wolfgang Angerholzer, Ambassador of the Republic of Austria to the Republic of Korea, Director General Chul Lee of the International Organizations Bureau, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Korea, we proudly welcome Austria as an official state party of the International Vaccine Institute. With the generous support of the Austrian government, we are excited to expand vaccine R&D collaboration in Austria and Europe through IVI's country office in Vienna. We are particularly grateful to the Ministry of Social Affairs, Healthcare and Consumer Protection, and the Ministry of Education, Science and Research for their partnership in expanding IVI's European presence and for the core funding support for the International Vaccine Institute. Austria has joined IVI at an opportune moment. In the aftermath of COVID-19, the international community is mustering resources and expertise to assist low and middle-income countries develop the skills needed to establish domestic vaccine R&D and manufacturing capabilities. As a member state, funder, and host country of IVI, Austria will be advancing programs like the Advancing Vaccine End-to-End Capabilities in Africa Initiative, or AVIC Africa, the Strep A Vaccine Global Consortium, and the development of new vaccines to address new threats stemming from climate change, antimicrobial resistance, and future pandemics. And just to remind people, Strep A, the group A Streptococcus, was the cause of, actually, there's a very famous, I guess he was Hungarian, but born in what is now Eisenstadt in Austria. Ignaz Semmelweis was the person who described this and made the association with the bacterium. So Strep A actually has a history tied back to its discovery as a cause of the fever that occurred after delivery of children. IVI looks forward to working with Austrian researchers and biotech firms on these global programs and infusing our efforts with the know-how and innovation at the heart of the Austrian life sciences industry. And just again to remind everyone that BioNTech Pfizer vaccine, a lot of the initial doses that were used throughout Europe and other parts of the world actually came out of a small biotech company in Vienna. And we are going to be happy to start working with Polymmune more. As we raise the flag of Austria at IVI, let us all rise to the occasion and usher in a world together free from infectious disease. Thank you very much. Forgot the IVI presentation. So, great. And I'm sorry if, Ambassador, you've, I think, seen parts of these slides before. But just to remind you then that IVI is a UN-chartered organization founded in 1997 by the United Nations Development Program. And our mission is to discover, develop, and deliver safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for global health. The 258 people who work at IVI around the world work in 50 sites in over 30 countries, scattered through Latin America, Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. 42 countries, as you've heard, and WHO are state parties and or signatories, and 12 countries are pending accession to IVI. These are the flags of the member countries. This is the strategy of IVI, and if you think of IVI as a house with a vision of developing countries free of suffering from infectious diseases, and a mission to discover, develop, and deliver safe, effective, and affordable vaccines for global health, we have arranged around that 3 strategic initiatives. First, to amplify the core, to make IVI bigger and better at discovery, development, and delivery. Second, to scale the global footprint or to expand internationally. It's important to recognize that actually when this strategy was approved in November of 2021, IVI actually existed only as a headquarters here in Seoul. And so opening up of the Austrian country office is actually yet another step towards IVI expanding internationally. And then finally, future-proofing governance. That is, to have a more inclusive governance, because one of the things we learned during the pandemic was that we tend not to hear the voices of countries that are not funders of different international organizations. And so the board has now added 2 seats from non-funding countries, and these non-funding countries are Rwanda and Bangladesh. And they've already started to make contributions to the way the board looks at and thinks about international health problems. Oops, there we go. This shows you a map of the world, and the pinpoints are the places around the world where IVI works. You can see the headquarters in Seoul in South Korea, the regional office that opened in Sweden in 2022, the country office that opened temporarily in Austria in 2022 and will now open officially in Austria in 2024. 2 sites in Africa, a regional office which should hopefully open in a temporary space in Kigali in Rwanda in 2024, and a country office in Nairobi, Kenya, which also we hope to open this year. The other point here is under the Korean flag, you see a symbol, which is the Hong Kong Jockey Club. The Jockey Club is the 2nd largest charitable funder in Asia and has committed about $30 million over 5 years to help IVI to establish laboratory capabilities at Hong Kong University in support of global health and pandemic preparedness. This shows you the growth of IVI since 2015, significantly expanding the diversity of funders from Bill and Melinda Gates in 2015 to a host of different funders in 2024. And you can see also that we've greatly expanded the vaccines that we work on, going from cholera, typhoid, and dengue in 2015 to a large number of vaccines by 2024. This gives you just an idea. It's a very complicated picture of what we do at IVI on a day-to-day basis. Under discovery, development, delivery, and epidemiology and surveillance, in gray you see the diseases we work on. Again, showing a classic pyramid. We work on a lot of things in the laboratory, fewer things that we test in humans, even fewer things, vaccines that have been approved, and for which we're looking for new and improved indications for use. And then a large number of diseases that we consider under surveillance. We're trying to understand the burden of these diseases in order to better justify the use of vaccines for these conditions. IVI helped in Korea during COVID by supporting 24 other organizations, so not pursuing our own vaccine, but helping other companies or organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation either prepare for vaccine trials or get vaccines ready for testing in animals or in humans. IVI works from need to impact. That is, we identify, for instance, the need for a cholera vaccine, secure funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, work with a developing country vaccine manufacturer to manufacture the vaccine, work with them then to get the vaccine tested and approved, and at the same time, work with organizations like the World Health Organization, like Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, with national immunization technical advisory groups, which make recommendations for the use of vaccines in countries. So at the same time that IVI creates a supply working with a manufacturer, we also create a demand for the vaccine, because the last thing we would want to do is to have a vaccine and to have no one use it. Companies wouldn't work with us anymore, and that would then we would lose the benefit, the impact of vaccination. So through the cultivation of a supply and a demand, IVI can achieve the impact that we all expect with vaccines: saving lives, decreasing disability-associated life years, healthier families by decreasing poverty, increasing cognitive and physical development, increasing levels of educational attainment, and increasing economic growth, all things that come when a country implements successful, impactful vaccination. These are the vaccines that IVI is working on, starting with our own lab. The first vaccine is oral cholera vaccine. Actually, that vaccine has been approved by WHO as manufactured by different companies. Vaccine number 2 is a typhoid conjugate vaccine. It's also been approved by WHO in the version made by SK Bioscience. The version made by Biopharma, which is an Indonesian company, it's been approved locally in Indonesia, and submission to WHO is pending. We're also working on now vaccines number 3, number 4, and number 5. These are vaccines initially funded by IVI. So in the case of vaccine number 3, there was a small internal investment now picked up by the Wellcome Trust. We're hoping that later on this year we'll hear from the FCDO of the United Kingdom that they will fund additional clinical development of this vaccine. This gives you an example of the universe of partners that we have, starting with industry, then the Korean government, of course, as the host country, other governments, universities, philanthropic organizations, and global health organizations. In all, over 160 different partners help to support IVI's activities. Again, we'd worked throughout the COVID pandemic with a large number of companies, giving you an idea that since we work from the beginning to the end, from end to end in vaccine development, we can really assist companies at any stage. So if you think about the 5 pre-qualifications that IVI has worked on so far, 2 of them, the SK Bioscience COVID-19 vaccine and the Sanofi COVID-19 vaccine, actually are not vaccines that originated with us, but vaccines where IVI was sought as a partner to help the international development of vaccines. We've also worked significantly doing training. Over 3,000 people have taken the 1-week course in vaccinology, a course which will be offered in the first week of September again. We've also trained 970 people through the Global Training Hub for Biomanufacturing. And this is an effort funded by the Korean government, sponsored by WHO, for which IVI is the implementing partner. People come for a 2-week course or a 3-week course. In total, 970 people have come for those 2 courses. And now 60 people have completed a hands-on training in biomanufacturing at training facilities in Korea. And later on this year, an additional 30 people will come for hands-on training in actual biomanufacturing. This gives you an example of the work or of several of the courses that the GTHB has been supporting. Very importantly, IVI now has a global council. So one of the changes in governance to increase the voice from countries around the world that form the core of IVI as an international organization, we created the Global Council. The Global Council is the principal advisory body to the Board of Trustees. The Global Council also elects 2 non-funding members to sit on the Board of Trustees. And last year's Global Council strongly recommended to the Board of Trustees that we assist in sustainable end-to-end vaccine manufacturing. That was taken up by the Board of Trustees at their November 2023 meeting, and the board allocated IVI funding to help to set up the 2 offices in Africa. And we're hoping that within the course of 3 to 4 years, those offices will also be self-sustaining through research grants. The Hong Kong Jockey Club, as I mentioned previously, is a new $30 million initiative over 5 years. The IVI portions of this are line 1 and line 3, which are very difficult to read, but it's epidemiology and pandemic preparedness on the top line, and in the third line, vaccine process development. And this is the pre-industrial process that we have to undertake in order to get vaccines successfully transferred to manufacturers. So thinking again, if you start at the bottom of this pyramid, whenever I tried to use we start at the bottom of the pyramid with burden, so understanding where the diseases are and what the pathogens are, taking a vaccine from the laboratory through human clinical trials and approval, and then through all of this, doing technical and human capacity development in order to transfer the ability to manufacture vaccines to companies around the world. And you can see up in the corner here, 14 technology transfers of 6 different vaccines to developing country manufacturers, including BioVac. BioVac is a South African company. It has put vaccine into vials before. It's never made a vaccine itself. If we are successful, and at this point they've scaled up to the industrial size, if we're successful, this will be the first vaccine that BioVac has manufactured from end to end. And we're hoping that that will move forward smoothly in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerome. This concludes the remarks portion of today's ceremony. For those of who are joining us on Zoom, we'll be disconnecting after this session. But for those of us who are in attendance, I'd like to invite all of you out to the lobby for a group photo, and then we'll go to the front of the building for the flag raising ceremony. Thank you.
Will now be raised while the national anthem plays. Austria-IVI's host country, the Republic of Korea, will now be played.